I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I didn't do fucking shit!
All right, what is up, guys? Sporting with Smitty here. Another loss. That is 5 straight for the New England Patriots. The first time in the Bill Belichick era that the Patriots have lost 5 straight games. We fall to 2-10 after another just doozy of a loss, 6-0 to the LA Chargers. And I'm going to get right into it. So, starting with the offense, really talking about and getting into the holiday spirit. I believe there was a Patriots reporter that described our receiving corps this way during training camp. It's very simple. This offense is stink, stank, stunk. Terrible. This is probably one of the worst offenses in Patriot history. I don't want to say it's the worst. That's a bit of a stretch because there have been some very, very poor teams in Patriot history. I'll get into that a little bit later because there have been questions on whether this is the worst Patriot team in history. But let's get started. The offensive line again was terrible. Allowed 5 sacks, including back-to-back sacks on actually probably the first drive that New England was really moving the ball down the field, and we were, I think, about at 35, and then we took back-to-back sacks, which ended it right there. Obviously, Bill has no trust in our rookie kicker. I mean, who does right now at this point? Ryland has been very, very, very bad this year. So, and plus with the elements of how it was during the game, there's really no sense in really doing anything other than punting and forcing the Chargers to do something on a very, very short field. This might be a little bit questionable to some people, but as you can see at the bottom in the scroll, I said Zappe ain't it. He's not. So I don't want to hear any more from people who claim that Zappe is the savior right now and who claim that Zappe is the better quarterback than Mac. He's just like Mac. Zappe is no better than Mac. The only difference is Zappe has somewhat of an arm and he has mobility. That's the only difference between him and Mac Jones. Outside of that, really, it's the same damn thing. They can't run an offense on an NFL level. Also, just the terrible play calling in situations. At halftime, they were booed off the field, and rightfully so. The drive that they got the ball back right before halftime, before they gave it back to the Chargers, really just bad play calling. I mean, there's just they don't try to throw it downfield. They don't try to, and without Pop Douglas, you can't really toss it in the backfield and hope for the best, because that's what this offense is based on. Because this coaching staff has no faith in the quarterbacks to throw it downfield. Problem is, we don't have the skill players anymore. The only skill player we got his ass knocked out in New York, which still for some reason is not a penalty. I guess, I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on it. But you don't have that athlete like Douglas to make those type of plays. I will give Zeke credit. Zeke was making plays. He was running hard. He was trying to find the holes. I mean, he had to step it up today because, Stevenson went down early in the game on just a really horrific injury. I hope he gets well very soon. If he doesn't play for the rest of the season, I would not mind that. Do not force that guy to further injure himself for a lost cause, because this team, that's exactly what this team is. It is a lost cause. And it's unfortunate. I don't want to see Stevenson have a setback that keeps him out maybe until early next year or God knows when. So, but Zeke played great. He's definitely one of my players of the game. for me personally, on offense, one of the few players of the game on the offensive side of the ball that had a great game. I mean, 17 carries, 52 yards, 4 catches for 40 yards. He probably had one of the biggest plays of the game early on with a screen pass that he took down the field for a big gain, for our first really big gain of the game. But the like I said, the play calling has been terrible. It has been terrible. And I mean, I don't want to completely say it's been terrible. I mean, because we just don't have the personnel. We don't have the personnel. The type of heavy in the backfield type of plays that Bill O'Brien runs, because like I said before, I recognize these plays. Any Patriot fan who has been watching the Patriots for as long as they like to say, or as long as me, I've recognized some of those plays from 2011 during the Super Bowl run, which we lost to the Giants, obviously. But those screen passes, you can immediately see those quick snaps where Brady would toss it to Welker and he would make a play to go 5 to 10 yards for a first down. You see it today. You saw it today. There was one where Zappi threw it, but he threw it behind them, and obviously Juju, I think it was either Juju or Devontae, dropped it. And there was nothing to be had with it. So, I mean, again, it's definitely, the play calling has not been good, but also the personnel that we are kind of forced to run with, it's just not there. It's just not there. Going in, I mean, like I said, the offense is just terrible. 11 total drives today. That includes the kneel down at the end of the first half. So you had 2 turnover on downs late in the game. Both of them ended on sacks, or the first one ended on a sack, and I think the second one ended on an incomplete pass into double coverage. The next, there was 1 fumble, our only turnover of the day. We did have another fumble, but Juju was on it, so I'll give him credit for that. And then 7 punts, and that includes 4 3-and-outs. So, I mean, man, it's honestly ugly. It's honestly ugly. But going into another player of the game, honestly, and I have to give him credit, punter. Bryce Baringer, great game. 7 punts for him today. 3 of them landed inside the 20. And that definitely helped out the defense a bit to, do what they do best, force them back, try to get a short field for the offense. But, I mean, if you're shouting out your punter, there's a problem. But, I mean, we have some problems. Now going on to the defense, and you have to really feel for these guys. I mean, as you see in the scroll text below, it says the Pats made some history, and we did. We 100% did. For the first time since 1938, since I believe the Chicago Cardinals, the New England Patriots are the first team since 1938, definitely the first team in the modern era, to give up 10 points or under in 3 straight games and lose all 3 games. That tells you a few things. One, our offense is a complete joke and an embarrassment, and that should never be able to set foot on an NFL field. Second is that our defense is playing out of their minds. They are playing out of their minds. They are playing as good as they can. As good as they can. As great as they can. But the problem is, the offense is absolutely terrible. And for me, there's a couple of guys that definitely stood out to me today. Jabril Peppers is by far becoming the player of the year for the New England Patriots. He's becoming the player of the year for the New England Patriots. He's making big plays. He's bringing pressure. He's great in coverage. He's honestly turned it around in New England, because I remember he was kind of getting bashed in New York when he played for the Giants. Just to see him kind of come here in New England, and yes, the team is terrible. Well, I scratch that. The offense is terrible. The special teams is below average, but the defense is great. It's great. I mean, we're one of the few teams that has been able to somewhat contain the Dolphins' offense, believe it or not. I mean, going back to early in the season when we were forcing turnovers, we were really shutting down Tua. The problem was, once again, the offense. Same thing later in Miami. I mean, we're getting stops. We forced a turnover. But again, bad throw, horrible interception from Mac Jones on the sidelines. Offense again. So this defense has been able to perform at a very, very high level this year. It's just, unfortunately, the defense can't score touchdowns. You can't expect the defense to score touchdowns week in and week out. You can't, because that's not what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get the ball back to the offense, and then the offense is supposed to do their damn job. We've heard the mantra in New England for so many years: do your job. Well, the defense is doing their job today. Herbert, I mean, the stats are a little bit inflated, but Herbert was really below average today. And that says a lot, because Herbert I know he gets bashed a lot for being below average in times, but I mean, he's overall a really good quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. He's able to see the field, he's able to make some great throws, and New England was really able to halt that offense today. I mean, Austin Eckler couldn't get anything going. There was no run game whatsoever. Probably the best thing about this team is the run defense. And again, no run game whatsoever. 1.2 yards a rush. 1.2 yards a carry. That's unbelievable against a guy like Austin Eckler, who's regarded as one of the best running backs in the game. And Keenan Allen, holding Keenan Allen in check. Keenan Allen, once again, regarded as another one of the best guys at his position in the league. 5 catches on the day. I mean, excellent. You really can't ask more for this defense. Also, I have to give this defense credit. Their tackling has been unbelievable these last few weeks. They've been able to really wrap up on guys. They've been really able to wrap up on these guys. Now, I know people are going to say, "Oh, we play the Giants." Yeah, okay. You played the Colts. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is not an easy guy to bring down, along with guys like Michael Pittman. I mean, and you obviously saw the rookie, Jalen Hyatt, from Tennessee, who's not easy to bring down with the Giants. But still, the tackling has been very, very much improved since early in the season. That's another thing we can look really positive upon. But that's how I'm feeling about this team right now. Again, I know the tank is on. There's no point in winning games anymore. Outside of, I mean, all of these guys are playing for pride, and they're playing for their next job. Whether that's going to be in New England under a possible new coaching staff, or if that's going to be somewhere else. They're playing for their jobs next year, period. And that's just how it is when it comes to a bad team. Got to give credit to the New England Patriot fans that showed up to the game, because not many people would. They've been able to, I mean, I would have showed up. I would have loved to have been at the game today. And to the clowns that didn't show up in the box seats, the rich assholes that just don't bother. We don't need you. We don't need you as a fan. Give your ticket up to a guy who or a family that would love to sit there and watch a Pats game, whether they're losing or not, because I don't care. My team, I could watch this team go 0-17 and I'd still show up and watch a game. But unfortunately, I live too far away. So I'll give credit to the fans that showed up and stayed during the rain today, because I know that was a really hard one to watch. Now, I'm going to touch on this now, because I know a lot of people, at least in the media, at least in the Boston sports media, have been talking about this. Is this the worst Patriot team we've ever seen? I don't think so, believe it or not. I know the record doesn't state... It doesn't... I'm 50-50 on this argument, because I've always thought in my mind, it was like, okay, if you're a bad team, your record states that you're a bad team. I mean, you can't... There's not too much luck when it comes to football or the sport. So your record states how good you are. And honestly, this team shows that there's a reason why they're 2-10. This offense is a joke. I mean, one touchdown since the Washington Commanders game back on November, I want to say November 3rd or 4th. Actually, no, November 5th, I believe. So that tells you just how, I mean, how incompetent this offense is. But are we the worst? I don't think so. And there are two Patriot teams before my time, obviously. I mean, I grew up in the Bill Belichick era. Belichick was hired when I was 4, so obviously I have no memory of the Patriots being incompetent and really, really bad. One team that comes to mind is the Ron Earhart led team in 1981. They went 2-14 that year. The big stat that really just blew my mind is that this offense in a 16-game regular season had 50 turnovers. 50 turnovers. 5-0. 50 turnovers. Please, if somebody is watching this, please dig into any NFL archive you can find and see where there's a team that has had 50 turnovers in a season, because that is unreal. The Pats had 3 quarterbacks that season: Steve Grogan, Matt Cavanaugh, and then I believe Tom Owen. Tom Owen didn't really play much, but it was between Cavanaugh and Grogan. And those guys had 17 touchdowns and 34 interceptions. 34 interceptions. And really the low point of the year came on the final day of the season when New England played against the 1-13 Baltimore Colts. Or no, the 1-14 Baltimore Colts. And many say it's one of the worst games of all time, between two of the worst teams to ever set foot on a football field. I mean, the Colts that year had one of the worst defense in NFL history, giving up more points than any team has ever given up in the modern era, or any era, I believe. And the Patriots lost that game to the Baltimore Colts to finish both 2-14. Believe it or not, the only 2 wins that the Baltimore Colts had that year were against that New England Patriots team. So that tells you how bad they were. But I don't think they were that bad compared to the 1990 New England Patriots. If any Patriot fan who's watching this can honestly vouch for it, that's by far the worst team in Patriot history, led by Rod Rust, former defensive coordinator for New England Patriots during their very first Super Bowl run against the Bears that obviously ended ugly. But there's a couple of stats here that just blew my mind. I mean, I've already known them, but still, for the people who are watching this that don't know, New England scored 4 rushing touchdowns all season long. 4. And they gave up 29 rushing touchdowns on the season. They gave up over 400 points a game, or 400 points throughout the season, including 27.9 points a game, and they only scored $181. So that's about 11.3 points a game. They also started 1-1, but they would not win another game for the rest of the year, finishing the season on a 14-game losing streak, one of the first teams to really ever do that. Up until the 2001 Carolina Panthers, when they started 1-0, and then they lost every game after that. So this team was truly incompetent, and they were truly one of the worst teams, not only in NFL history, but they were definitely the worst team in Patriot history. This was Steve Grogan's last year. Unfortunately, injuries had taken their toll, and I mean, he played a few games, but he was just another year where he was a punching bag, and it's unfortunate because he was, before Bledsoe and Brady, he was the greatest quarterback Patriots ever had. I know a lot of the old guys, a lot of the older Pats fans would argue, even Babe Pirelli, but people, at least the older generation of Pats fans, would say Steve Grogan was the best quarterback in Patriots history prior to Bledsoe and Brady. But also this team, another reason why I think this team was the worst team in Patriot history was because of the scandal that happened off of the field, or dare I say in the locker room, with I think it was a Boston Globe reporter, and don't want to get too much into it, but obviously inappropriate harassment behavior happened. Our owner at the time really didn't do anything to, didn't really create an environment to where it was, where basically that type of behavior was unacceptable. So I don't want to really go into that, but yeah, to me, this Patriot team, it's not the worst. This defense has shown so much this all year. They've shown that they are playing their asses off. Even when they were pissing me off in the season earlier this year, where they were missing tackles, all of that, they were still playing their asses off. So that's why, I mean, you can't deny it. If this offense was even even not even average, but a little bit below average, this team would probably be 5-7 right now, or 5-7, 5-7, maybe 6-6 if things go our way. If this offense was just a little bit better, maybe 5-7. But with how horrible and just how hapless our QBs are, this is just where we're at right now. But this team is not the worst in Patriots history. It's not. It's 1990 all the way. The only way we would ever top 1990 is if we were to go winless, and obviously that's not possible now. So, what's next? It's very simple. Thursday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers, Heinz Field. I know they changed it, but for me it's always Heinz Field, and it will always be Heinz Field. Do we have a chance? With the injury to Kenny Pickett, I think we do. I think we have a very, very good chance to do that because Mitch Trubisky will be starting, possibly. At least that's from everything I've read right now and everything I've read to date. Mitch Trubisky might be in line to start that game on Thursday night. Now, anybody who's watched football in the last 5 years knows that Trubisky is a turnover machine. He's a turnover machine. But we don't know how it's going to be with this Pittsburgh offense without Matt Canada. We obviously saw them have a hiccup today in their loss to Arizona, which completely shocked me. I did not expect that to happen. It helped us to improve our draft position, but still did not see that coming. So you don't know what Pittsburgh offense is going to show up. They're just as bad as we are, except their defense actually, when they do get turnovers, their offense in the short field actually takes advantage of the situations. So, do I think we have a shot? I do. Do I think this is our last chance to get a victory? No. No. Because the Jets' offense is also incompetent right now with their quarterback issues, with Zach Wilson and all of that. And rumors, obviously, of Aaron Rodgers coming back, but we don't know how healthy he's going to be or how good he's going to play. So, again, there's a possibility where we can get 2 wins out of the rest of the year. So, 4-13 to finish the season. And how bad and how... don't want to say how bad or how good, but the worst team in football is by far Carolina. Complete football team is Carolina, but I don't think if we'd win 2 games, it would really hurt us. So I wouldn't think it would take us out of the top 5. If we'd win 2 games, it would keep us in the top 5. I think. But let me know how you guys feel. Excuse me. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that New England should just lose out? Do you think we should, what do you think we should do at quarterback? Obviously, Zappe is not the guy. We all know Mac isn't the god. That ship has sailed. That is gone. That ship is in the bottom of the ocean. But do you think that Zappe should sit? Do you think Zappe should get maybe one more chance against Pittsburgh on Thursday night? Or do you think that Malik Cunningham should finally get a shot? There are rumors that he was getting looks at practice at quarterback, and there was a possible play package that was set for him in the Wildcat or anything. So do you think that Malik Cunningham should get a chance? Or Will Grier apparently was re-signed to the practice squad. Do you think Will Grier should get a shot? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Please, thank you again for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time. Go Pats.